My daughter-in-law demanded. Change your will, or else you'll regret it. I signed with a smile. Reading the fine print at the notary, she fainted in complete horror. My name is Ethan Cole. I am 58 years old. I am an African man born and raised in Cape Town. I work as a civil engineer and property developer. For over 35 years I built roads, housing projects, and commercial buildings across the Western Cape. People know me as calm, disciplined, and fair. I speak little but observe deeply. I believe in dignity, planning, and silence over noise. I am a widower. My wife Miriam died 9 years ago from breast cancer. She was a school teacher, gentle but sharp-minded, and she taught me one thing before she passed: never let emotions replace wisdom. I have one son. His name is Daniel. He is 32 years old. He works as a logistics manager for an import-export company. Daniel is intelligent but emotionally soft. He grew up loved, protected, and never truly tested by hardship. I blame myself for that. Daniel married 2 years ago. His wife is Vanessa. She is 29 years old. Vanessa works as a lifestyle influencer and part-time event coordinator. She is beautiful, articulate, ambitious, and deeply strategic. On the surface she is polite, affectionate, and modern. Underneath, she is impatient, controlling, and obsessed with status and speed. When Daniel first introduced Vanessa to me, I welcomed her. I paid for the wedding. I gifted them a fully furnished apartment in a new development I owned. I paid off Daniel's car loan. I never asked for anything in return. I believed support builds loyalty. I was wrong. The shift started 6 months after the wedding. Vanessa began asking questions that were not innocent. She asked how many properties I owned. She asked whether my will was updated. She asked what would happen if I died suddenly. She smiled when she asked, but her eyes calculated. Daniel brushed it off, saying she was just curious. Modern women like to plan. I stayed silent. A year later, Vanessa convinced Daniel to move into my primary residence, a large 5-bedroom house overlooking the sea. She said it would help family bonding. What she really wanted was access. Access to documents. Access to habits. Access to weakness. She started managing household staff without asking me. She rearranged furniture that my wife had chosen. She replaced family photos with abstract art. She hosted gatherings without informing me. Slowly, she behaved like an owner. Then one evening, everything changed. It was a Thursday night. Rain heavy. The ocean loud. Daniel was away on a work trip. Vanessa sat across from me at the dining table. She was unusually direct. No smile. No softness. She placed a folder in front of me. Inside was a draft of a new will. My name printed at the top. Her name repeated more than my son's. She said, "Ethan, you are getting older. Things happen suddenly at your age. It is practical to make changes now." She leaned forward. "I need you to sign this updated will. It transfers majority ownership of your properties into Daniel's name immediately, with me as executor and beneficiary alongside him." I looked at her calmly. I asked one question. Why the urgency? Her tone hardened. "Because if you do not, you will regret it." She said it without raising her voice. No drama, just certainty. She added that she and Daniel planned their future based on these assets. She said she sacrificed opportunities. She said loyalty deserved reward. She said resistance would create distance between me and my son. That was the moment betrayal revealed its face. I felt something heavy in my chest. Not anger. Disappointment. Miriam's voice echoed in my mind. Never let emotions replace wisdom. I smiled. I told Vanessa I would sign. Her eyes widened in surprise. She relaxed instantly. She became sweet again. She thanked me repeatedly. She hugged me. She called me father. She booked an appointment with a notary for the next morning. She told Daniel that night that everything was resolved. What she did not know was that I had already anticipated this moment months earlier. You see, I had noticed small irregularities. Missing documents. Bank statements opened. Conversations overheard. I had quietly consulted my lawyer. A woman named Grace Mbeki, 51 years old, Ruthless in law, loyal in principle. I told her everything. She advised me not to confront. She advised me to prepare. So I prepared. The will Vanessa drafted was not the one I intended to execute. Grace created an amended version. Legally binding. Perfectly structured. It appeared to transfer control. In reality, it triggered a sequence of conditions. Trusts. Delayed vesting. Moral clauses. Asset freezing triggers. And one final clause written so precisely it was almost poetic. The next morning at the notary office, Vanessa arrived overdressed. Confident. Victorious. Daniel joined us via video call. The notary began reading. Vanessa nodded impatiently. She barely listened. She only cared about signatures. Then the fine print was read aloud. Any beneficiary found to have coerced, threatened, or manipulated the testator, directly or indirectly, for material gain, shall be immediately disqualified from all benefits. Such disqualification shall extend to any spouse acting in coordination. All assets shall revert to a charitable trust in the name of the deceased spouse Miriam Cole, dedicated to cancer education and housing for widows. The room went silent. Vanessa stood up abruptly, her face drained of color. She tried to speak. Her legs gave way. She collapsed onto the carpet. The notary called for help. Daniel shouted through the screen. I remained seated, calm, still. When Vanessa regained consciousness, she screamed. She accused me of deception. She accused me of cruelty. She said I trapped her. I looked at her and spoke slowly. I did not trap you. You revealed yourself. Daniel flew back that night. We spoke alone. I showed him recordings, emails, messages, proof of Vanessa's threats, proof of her attempts to register properties without consent, proof of her conversations with third parties discussing selling assets after my death. Daniel cried, not loudly, quietly, like a boy realizing the world is not kind. Vanessa moved out within a week. She filed for divorce. She received nothing, not a cent, not a property, not even sympathy. Her reputation collapsed when the court documents became public. Brands dropped her. Friends disappeared. She left the city. Daniel stayed. He took responsibility. He apologized. I did not forgive immediately. Forgiveness without accountability is permission. Months passed. Slowly, trust rebuilt. Daniel changed. He matured. He learned patience. He learned silence. He learned that love is not possession. I finalized my will properly. My assets will fund education, housing, medical support. Daniel will receive enough to live responsibly, not enough to be weak. I stand today not as a man who took revenge out of hatred, but as a man who chose justice over fear. Support over indulgence. Wisdom over sentiment. If there is one lesson I leave you with, it is this. The loudest threats often hide the weakest positions. The calmest smiles often carry the sharpest decisions. And real power does not shout. It waits. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell me, what would you have done if you were in my place?